Right now, we have the EVP of Gateway Philippines. He's also my good friend. It's Mr. Michael Goho with our topic for today, the auto industry in the new normal. Hi, Michael.
Yeah. Hi, Jakey. Nice to
It's
be
been a long,
here.
yeah, it's been a long time since we last spoke. Last time we spoke
Almost
of
a year.
different things. We spoke of uh, uh, a lot of
On
profound things.
spirituality, actually. Very
Yeah,
different topic from what we'll be talking about today.
precisely, and it was a totally and completely different world a year ago. Unbeknownst to us, that that time we last met, we last spoke, that this would be the world that we will be living in 2020. Our subject matter for today, Mike, of course, is the auto industry in the new normal.
Yeah.
Because of this pandemic, Mike, people will never look at cars the same way again. Cars will be perceived as perhaps a potential breeding ground for a virus, and we can't travel in groups anymore. We can probably travel in groups of two, but maybe not in a
Yeah,
big group,
not big groups.
one like what we once were so used to. And of course, the environmental issues that are on the forefront now. And of course, not to mention the old classic problem, which we are rethinking, the traffic problem. So things are such in a different place now compared to where we once were, not even a year ago, like months ago. So, Mike, with this pandemic and everything in mind, paint to our viewers, paint to us your best case scenario of the auto industry.
Well, presently, it's really hard to paint a clear picture because there's still a lot of uncertainty. As we know, there's no vaccine yet, and even countries around the world are struggling. Even first world, really developed countries are having a hard time. So if we compare that to us, we're perhaps a few steps behind them. But with the auto industry, I understand the resilience of humanity, that people tend to adjust in times of difficulties. So naturally, it's part of our nature to find ways to adapt. So I anticipate that things might not really go back to the way it was anytime soon, particularly for the next 1 year. For sure, that's not going to happen. But presently, for the auto industry, there's still quite a demand for cars, although we've been hit really bad with sales. I'm sure if you ask any other car company, uh, they'll have negative feedback regarding that. We were greatly affected with sales and service figures, and our showroom expenses, our cost of money, inventory. We worry about all these things. Also, salaries for our employees. So it really took a big hit on us. But for now, since some areas are already under GCQ, so we anticipate things to slowly pick up. And things have been picking up, except katong last week na naputol na pud balik ang momentum kay Cebu City raman to'y na ECQ, diba? Just last week out of all the areas. So things went back south again. But so far, since GCQ, na may pick up, customers have been inquiring. We've been doing more focus on online sales. So we've been adjusting. We've been doing product launches online. We've been fully focused on Facebook Live, Facebook boosting. Basically, the online sales experience. Mao na ang shift. Kay wala naman dito atong typical showroom na setup where people walk in or mall displays. So far, na may pick up. I mean, I don't want to paint a very bleak picture of the industry. Because,
I'm asking you the best case scenario picture, Mike.
Yeah. I don't want to paint a very bleak picture because some tanaw nila murag doomsday na jud ba, like di na jud ka bounce back. Me, I remain optimistic that things will still pick up.
You
and
mentioned
things
that
will.
you mentioned that you're confident about humanity's resiliency, that we are resilient
Yes.
as a species. Do you mean that we're going to go back to our set point 3 months ago? Are we going to go back to the same old? Or are we going to go back but with different eyes, knowing that something like this could happen and did happen and will happen again? Do you think we will go back to that set point, those eyes that we once looked at the world 3 months or 4 months ago?
Definitely, we will adjust and we will pick up the pace. So the way I see it, we we find ways to improve the current setup, and naturally magsige ra tag-adapt sa because of this pandemic. Kay wa man tay choice pod, like people need to eat, we need to get the economy going. So kay gutmon man sad mga tao. I mean, people are gonna starve. What, we're just gonna lay at home all day, like murag wa jud nay paingnan. So we have to find the right balance of panginabuhi o pagbantay sa atong kinabuhi ba. 'Di ba?
So Mike, I was asking you for the best case scenarios. That was your best case. Paint to us your worst case
Best
scenario
case,
of the auto industry.
best case, things will remain in GCQ and people will adjust to the new normal. And worst case, maybe madugayan pa jud ni. So mohinay jud ang industry as a whole for the next maybe 3 years, 3 to 5 years, like mosigig now. But that's worst case scenario.
Um, I always harp on this, and I want to talk about this again. You know, this pandemic has become not a restart button, but an accelerant to things that were supposed to be happening already in the first place. Now, there are players in the auto industry that are making those electric cars, those smart cars, right? And all of that stuff. Do you see the auto industry accelerating those features of vehicles that are supposed to be there already now? Do you see that because of this pandemic, or do you think that we will still have our same timetables as far as product development goes?
For our country, I think mas mo hinay pagani. Like, I think things will just remain where they are, remain stagnant for now. Okay, ang electric cars medyo layo pa man jud na, because we have to invest in these charging stations. Like, it's a whole different ball game. And we also still have to clear existing kaning present models nato. So I think layo pa na ang shifting to hybrid electric vehicles for us. I can't speak for the other parts of the world, in other areas, auto industry sa other countries. I can't speak for them, but for us, I think we'll just have to maintain the present scenario, more of the same pa karon, not so much with electric cars.
Mike, knowing what we know now, do you see yourself in the auto industry for years to come? And if not, what is your pivot? What's your next move? Of course, you can stay in the auto industry and still make a pivot. Maybe you can share to us what your vision is in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years, as far as your involvement in the auto industry, and what kind of pivots, what kind of moves do you think you will make as an auto industry guy to perhaps another industry or whatever?
Well, as far as our company is concerned, we're still pretty much enthusiastic about growing the car business, not just in Cebu, but around the Philippines. But we'll be more careful and we'll be more selective with the type of products we bring in, the type of brand we introduce. And we want to make sure it's really what Cebuanos deserve, or what Filipinos look for, and the cars they look for, the cars they aspire to own. So yeah, basically in the next decade, I anticipate more expansion for us. despite the difficulties, we're still optimistic about setting our mark in the car industry in the Philippines.
So we have a lot of people out there who are in the auto industry, not just here in the Philippines, but all over the world. What is your message to those that are in the car industry right now, or those that are thinking of getting into the car industry? What is your message to all of them? Go ahead, Mike.
Presently, it's still a bit difficult, so we'll have to. Wait, you mean people who want to get in the car business now?
Overall, just give us a message of for the auto industry in general.
In general, I would encourage our fellow people in the car industry to stay resilient, stay positive. Anyway, we've assessed and demand is still quite high, although there has been a few shifts. But I would encourage them to stay strong and stay positive.
You mentioned shift, and you mentioned that you're now more focused on online marketing. Do you see the showroom disappearing, or do you think that eventually the showroom will still go back to its former glory, about 3 months ago glory? What are your thoughts on that experience?
Definitely, we will still retain showrooms, but definitely there won't be so much of a focus on big showrooms or setting up plenty of showrooms. But it will be more of really, the online sales experience. And
do you
making it convenient for clients and ensuring safety, especially now in this pandemic.
Do you feel that you need to do it in-house, or do you think you can leave it to the other guys? Let's say those online auto dealerships, brands like Auto Deal and all that stuff. Do you feel that their business will grow, or do you feel that you need to do it in-house, meaning to say you do everything yourselves in Gateway?
I think with businesses like Auto Deal, I think they're more suitable to become partners, but we still have to take the lead from within. I think Auto Deal can be like a complementary support type of platform, but at the end of the day, it's still us who needs to run the show. While Auto Deal can contribute, but ultimately, we still have to take care of our own business.
Okay, Mike, I'm not gonna take much of your time. Thank you so much for doing this. And of course, good luck to you. Best of wishes to you for your auto group, Gateway. The brands that you guys are carrying can you name it to us? And maybe you can tell everybody where they can find your touch points on social media. Go ahead.
Well, presently we carry brands Nissan, BMW. We also have BMW bikes. We have Kia, and we have new brands, Geely, Cherry, and Photon. And soon we might also be expanding with other new brands, but I won't mention them now na lang para surprise, like to follow na lang na.
And your social media touch points. Maybe you can share to us where they can find you and your brands.
You can find us on Facebook. It's there. For Nissan, it's Nissan Cebu South. And for Kia, Kia Cebu. And for the rest, it's quite easy to reach us.
Okay, Mike. Thank you so much. The EVP of Gateway Philippines, Michael Goho. Thank you so much for your time, Mike. You stay safe.
Thank you. You too. Stay safe.